This is day 4 on getting firewood from this area here is called the lake quarter. And let's see if we can start up this tractor. I did bring jumper cables and starter fluid, but let's see if it'll turn on. See, when you see that yellow light with the little coily thing in there, that means you can hear the fuel pumps, like something's warming up. You'll see this in a lot of trucks, pickup trucks as well. And when that turns off, then you start it. Put the throttle up a bit. That's just condensation. I think that's just water. All these the tractors like this have a pollution filter, so it's supposed to filter that out. So that means the filter is getting old and it's coming to the end of its life. But
you can't change it yourself either, can you? You have to get the technicians.
No, it's a huge job. See how it's so blue like that?
Yeah. That should tap off after it's warm, right?
Yeah, it should go away after it's warm.
Because you can't work like that. It's
it'll go away after it's warm, but it's not supposed to be blowing that blue stuff out. That probably means the filter is getting damaged.
Yeah.
Just like on this truck. Look at some of these logs here. Like that, I think is a good sawmill log, but
well,
maybe.
I'm saying you make the call.
Yeah.
So you're gonna separate
whatever
them?
Ones I think. Like this here, there's a bend, but you cut it before the bend, and then you still got a really decent log.
Are you gonna separate them today?
No.
Because it's too big of a job.
Well, what I'm going to do today is just push them all up. Just keep pushing them back. And then we'll just keep pulling them out. And then once we start loading them on the trailer, then if I see a good log, I'll put it aside.
Yeah, hear you.
There's quite a few logs. What I'm going to do is, once the tractor's warm, I'm going to clear some of the snow over here. And then I'll get the forks out of the back of the pickup here. Pallet forks. And then I'll
Look at that, right? You're right. It's already not glued.
Yeah. And then I'll just kind of push these logs up in a big pile here. And then at one point I may start making another pile in here.
Yeah.
But then just keep piling them here, and then you have room for the trailer.
Yeah.
So.
You got a few from last year there, or a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think Doug pulled out a couple random ones, and they were sitting over here, and there's like a brush pile over there. So, and we were digging, like we dug a whole bunch of dirt out of here for fixing up that road, and so this hill here was like, back to about here, and it was almost level. And that's how much dirt we took out of there, quite a bit, with that tractor. Yeah, and it makes everything better because now you got a perfect road and more space for logs. Kubota should be sued. Look at this. The cable just goes inside the control, and then it gets stuck in there. These plastic balls keep breaking off. See, this one works. But this one just falls right out. Stupid design. My uncle has replaced these cables probably about 5 times, both of them. Pathetic design. But take this home and I might be able to fix it. Probably not. If not, then we'll just get the other tractor out here. Yeah, it just drops out the bottom. And then this thing is supposed to stay in here. It doesn't make any sense to use plastic. But I don't know.
These machines, they make them so cheap, they make them...
Yeah, that's why you don't buy new tractors. The old tractors just have this hydraulic thing right here and the controls right on top of it, so that would never happen. They're not even that long. Just put this thing right here, like right here, and load of the Universal has this thing right on top of the hydraulic manifold, and all the old tractors have that. They're better. These new cables, both of our Kubotas, they just turn into garbage pretty fast. No, it's not. It doesn't take much. Up and down, side to side, and then we just turn into garbage. So, it's a bad design. They should do a recall on those or something. The new ones are the same. They're the same stupid cables. And this thing is leaking. This whole hydraulic system, even these things, they're cheap. They're garbage. They're just leaking everywhere. And this has been replaced like 5 times. This and these parts. And this tractor's, 2012 or something. Not even that old. And it's leaking engine oil there. The filter's tight. These new tractors are a joke. They're lemons. And in the front of them just... when the axle comes up, catches this and rips everything apart. Bad design. My uncle had this older 9000, and it still looked brand new when we traded it in. Everything, the hood was fine. Everything was fine. And just because it's like a 30-year-old tractor, it's built way better. I don't know if it had the cables or not, but the rest of it was better anyway. It wouldn't just fall apart like that. But yeah, might be able to fix that, might not. I think, yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Let's go ahead and try.
Yeah. So I was not able to fix the cables on this tractor, so I think what we'll do is take the logging winch off the back and then put it on our 108 Kubota. And that 108 has 4-wheel drive. It worked fine. And that's surprising because it has an electric switch. But yeah, so that's the tractor we'll finish the job with. And I just constructed this thing, and I made this out of Lego. And this is to hold the phone in my tripod, because the tripod kind of fell over and got busted, but I think I can use this for a while. So you see that yellow thing in there? Little yellow thing in there. That is one of these, and it's like that. And then this thing just kind of, it's hollow, so it kind of fits on the end of that ball in there. And then I got all these pieces hot glued around it. Use a glue gun. This thing is old. This has been around a while, or not that old, but usually these cheap glue guns, I could make a whole video talking about. I've had probably almost 100 glue guns. Some of them last. It's fun having them over the years. Some of them last forever. Some of them, like this one, well, I guess none of them have lasted forever, but I've had so many glue guns, and I find the ones with the low and high switch, those are garbage. They just fall apart. I've had 2 of those. 2 or 3 of them, and they junk. And it's just funny how many glue guns I've had over the years. It's just ridiculous. We bought, the first 2 we had was a really big one. The thing was way too hot. As they get older, the temperature, what do you call it? The heater heats it up more and more. So when you get a low temp, once it's been on for a while, it turns into a medium temp. There's low temp and high temp, that's all. And I've had quite a few of the same color as this one. They have the high temperature is, these 2 parts are white and it's blue, and the low temperatures are, this part is white and those are blue. And yeah, I've had, all sorts of brands of glue guns. And this one I put a cord extension on when I barely knew anything about electricity. And it worked. I just cut it one day and decided, well, see if we can put a longer cord on. And this glue gun has, the end of it's not straight anymore, but this one has been around a long time. I've done a lot of gluing with that. And the reason I use hot glue and not epoxy is because, like, even on these vehicles, like, if you have something that's weak, you can hot glue it. And then you can still get a plier in. You can still pull those parts. You can still get those Lego parts apart. They're not permanent. So it just makes them stronger, but if you do it right, you don't use too much glue, you don't use too little, you can get those parts really strong and you can still pull them apart. Pulling the glue out, I use a needle, and there's a knife and a file. And this red piece and that gray piece, I had to carve those a bit with a knife and file to get those to fit. And this thing is, like I said, it's on the end of that yellow thing, and that's what that yellow thing is. And so yeah, these are just parts I had around. I don't have a lot of Lego. Like, I got this big bin. I got this thing here. It's got, like, about 4 inches. And then these 3 drawers. I'm not buying any more because this stuff is way too expensive. I mean, all the stuff that I have right now came in that blue bin, and it was $300. My parents bought it for me when I was younger. It was about 10 or 11. And look at these. This thing looks like a Zuzu Trooper. That's amazing. Look at how good that thing looks. Looks almost exactly like it, but Lego. You can't believe, these are probably the 2 best vehicles I've ever built out of Lego. Or some of the best. I built a combine once, and that was I didn't have any pictures of it, but that was a nice combine that I built years ago. And then the phone goes in there. You just kind of slip it like that in there. And then this thing goes on there. And these parts I glued together. This eye here. And then that will hold it on, and then I can still get the camera app up and then switch what type of filming, what mode the camera's on. And yeah, that. And then I also left a space at the back so you can plug the phone in. And then those holes are for the volume, the sound volume, and the power switch. And yeah, I think that's a good, it's kind of big, but I supported it. It's really strong there. And then you can change whatever angle, forward, backwards, whatever angle. And that was almost a better system than what I had on there. I put a couple patches and supports on the front there. I think that's it's kind of big, but it's not that heavy. It's pretty light. Nice and strong. So, you can build I built something similar to this, but it wasn't as good. You can build just about, Lego is like more than a toy. It's a full-on tool. I could probably, if you had the right parts, you could build whatever you wanted with it. So yeah, and I think there is such a thing as metal Lego too. It's, every brick, every block, and every piece, but made of metal. I think it's like made of aluminum or something, but That would be cool, because then you could make stuff with Lego, but it'd be way stronger. But yeah, I got that nice and strong. You see, I glued. This light is not very bright. That's all I got in here other than this light. And you see on these side, these here, like all these, this one and this one I glued. See, a little bit of hot glue there, a little bit of hot glue there. And then that tan piece on top isn't glued. But yeah. You got to get good at gluing that. You got to use like just a tiny little bit and then squish it on there as soon as possible. Because this here is a low temperature glue gun. And I just find it fascinating how many glue guns I've had over the years. Okay, it seems to work. I don't see any of the Lego on the edges of the camera anywhere. And I have access to the, the buttons on the side, the power buttons and the volume. So this is what I can use in my tripod now. So I also got this charger. It's quite long. It's longer than it looks, but yeah, this is it. That way you can have the phone in the tripod. Like, I'm gonna buy a new tripod soon, so I'll have like the phone will be this high, and then the charger can just go to the ground and plug into an extension cord on the ground, rather than having the extension cord run up here and then be pulling on this. But yeah, this is the camera would go right there. So yeah, and then you can move it. I made it strong so you can move it. If it's on unlevel ground, like that, and then just it's a pretty good design. I almost like that better than what they're selling. But I think that's good. Maybe I won't buy a new tripod, but well, this one's short anyway, and this thing comes out. But then again, that's almost a good thing. You can just pick it up and walk around with it. But yeah, it's not very good. But yeah, I'll get a new tripod soon. I mean, look at that leg. That's pretty bent. This one is, see, this black part is a separate, this black part here is a separate leg. And it broke right out of that one. This one's still got it. So this one's the short leg. So it all has to be the same length. But as you can see, so this is how I've been holding the phone sideways like this. And that's how you get the right shot for, this. Well, you can't film the back of it, but what my dad would have to do is he'd have to kind of hold it like that. And then, it's kind of awkward, and then you can't see that half of the screen. And so, a tripod's just way better. For if you're like driving a vehicle and you're moving, then you can have a camera person to move. But yeah, I started out with a tripod. This is just most of the time. This is what you want to be using. The power, the volume buttons are at the top there, and there's a piece of. See, that white piece of Lego is blocking the camera, so that's why it's kind of fuzzy over here. But that's the back of the camera. That's the back of the camera in there. So yeah, it's not the best, but it just goes on forever right there. Wow, that's trippy. Look at that, just years, light years. Okay, now let's film the front camera. Turn it off with the buttons up there. Okay, and then here's the camera can stick through that square, and that's what the front of this thing looks like. So now I can film like that. And then you can move it any direction you want. Sideways, a weird angle, or, forward and back. So I think I'll get a little while more out of this tripod. But this thing couldn't last that long. But yeah, that'll work for a while anyway. I forgot to mention the charging thing there. Hard to see it, but Yeah, so now you can charge the phone. No, well, it's up there. So if it's cold or something, and I'm in the workshop, whenever I say the shop, I usually mean the workshop that we have. My uncle built that, and yeah, so you can charge it. Well, it's because sometimes if I'm doing like a long repair or something, you need to charge the phone while I'm recording. I don't want to wait for the phone to charge, so I'll just do that, and then the cord is here. So yeah, and I think see this here. I think that's better if I just glue that in there. Maybe it might not make a difference because this is metal. You can't glue metal with hot glue, obviously. But yeah. It's probably not going to make much of a difference, but yeah. I'm going to get a new tripod soon, so this doesn't have to last forever, but that's what I'll be using for now, I guess.